Hello, everybody. It is Starrapter here, and welcome to the channel. It's time for trailer breakdown. I couldn't do this one alone, so for the first time, I'm doing a trailer breakdown with not one guest, but two guests. I have Milton Weber and I've Ben Maynard. How you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing great, thanks.
We're doing great, man. Thanks for having us today.
Oh yeah, this has been a long time coming. I've been wanting to get you guys on here to talk some Star Wars. So what better way than to talk about what everybody on the internet is talking about, and that is the Mandalorian. So we are going to get into it, guys. We're going to get into each screenshot at a time. We're going to break it down. We're going to analyze it. We are going to go over it with a fine tooth comb to just kind of glean any information that we can get out of this awesome, just under 2 minute trailer. So we're going to open it up. For the first image we have is the Razor Quest. And this really surprised the hell out of me, guys, because it's just not a normal Razor Crest. This thing looks like it's dead in space. Its cargo door is open. Is this the last time we're going to see the Razor Crest? Milton, what'd you think of this shot?
I thought it was a great shot, a great opening shot. I think it kind of reminded me of what might have been one of the episodes in Clone Wars when Maul and his brother Savage were like stuck in space, and they like kind of like got frozen, and they crashed with the Death Watch. It might have been. It kind of reminded me of that. It was a beautiful shot. I think this show, the way it's shot and how this ship looks, it's amazing. I mean, I feel like I'm in the movie, even though it's a TV show. Like, that's how well it looks. So very impressed with this first shot. I'm looking forward to what Filoni and Favreau is going to do further with this character, with this ship, because this ship is very iconic. I think it's going to become iconic in the Star Wars lore.
Oh yeah, I mean, and you mentioned it there, how good it looks, because if you guys have watched the Disney Gallery, The Mandalorian, they had this whole almost episode about the props and everything, and they have the craziness that they did with the props in somebody's garage. I think it was John Knoll. They did like this crazy rig, like it brought back to A New Hope, and it was so neat to see that. And it looks like it's the same way on this shot, like it's an actual prop that they just have dangling in visual effects and artistry like that. Ben, what did you think about this? The first
I
shot.
mean, I for starters, I definitely agree with you, Chris. Well, both of you really. I think there's a potential it could be dead in space temporarily. I mean, I think this, like you said, I think this is going to turn into one of the iconic Star Wars ships, like the Falcon or the Slave One or whatever, along those lines. But I just don't. I just don't. I'm not sure if a lot of people really. For us hardcore Star Wars fans, we'll notice like the little minute details,
Right.
no matter what it is.
Yeah.
But like you were saying about just the overall graphics and looks, if some a general audience member, they might say, oh yeah, that looks like a Star Wars show. But I think, like you guys were saying, I think they really stepped up the visual game.
Absolutely.
On this first initial shot, that was literally one of the first things I thought was like, dang. This looks better than season 1 already in the first 5 seconds.
You know what? That's a good point. And I didn't even realize like that until I watched it a second time. It feels more cinematic, but more detailed. I don't know. It just feels like I'm there for some weird reason. It's like I can touch that, and I'm like, okay, like they really stepped their game up. It's sharper. So.
And that's the magic with the Mandalorian, is they did something for the first time in any kind of film or TV. They used the volume for like most of the show, and it tricked all of us. Nobody knew that they were shooting in some random warehouse with a 360-degree, screens around them. Nobody knew that. So yes, like the Mandalorian is so. It almost feels grounded in reality for a certain degree because the environments look just so rich and they're just so like lived in, like the original trilogy. So yeah, I want to keep it going here. This next shot, we have Mando and we have Baby Yoda, as we call him, the child. He's in his little pram, so that little floating hover chair. The pram is back, and they are in some scum and villainy location here. If you look closely in the background, you guys can see the graffiti all over the place, and it just looks like a very derelict ridden place, a location. What'd you think about this one, Ben?
I like rolling off the momentum from last season with Baby Yoda and Mando and everything else. you have to show these characters early, like boom, so you get them right away. So that was one of the first instant thoughts I had about this location. And then, like you were saying, with the whole scum and villainy aspect, and the graffiti, things like that. What instantly came to my mind, could potentially this be, Nar Shaddaa. You
Ooh,
know, that's what instantly came to my
I
mind,
love that
and I was
idea.
and I was thinking, man, maybe this they could be going there because I'm sure we're not going to just stay on Navarro or Tatooine, the entire time. Like the voiceover,
Oh yeah.
like the armor's talking about in the voiceover, Mando's having to go and search the galaxy to reunite the
Yep.
child with, his kind. So that's what makes me think, we might be hopping around from planet to planet, and this could be maybe the first stop, because I don't think, with trailers like these or for other TV shows, a lot of times what we get in a trailer is really, one sliver of the
Uh-huh.
season or one sliver of the movie. We're never going to get, stuff from like the end of the season or three-quarters of the way or anything like that. What we're getting in this trailer is probably in the first two episodes, I would
Yeah.
guess,
Yeah.
at most.
Mm-hmm. Which goes back to the previous shot. It's like, wow, if they're gonna deal with taking out the Razor Crest that early on in the show, that'd be interesting. But then again, season one, they pretty much trashed that ship, and they had to repair it within the second episode anyway. So that might be kind of like the running joke of this entire series. It's like we constantly have to fix the Razor Crest, and by the end of the series, it's gonna look almost like an entirely different ship, kind of like how the Mandalorian has been changing his armor throughout the season of one. So we're gonna go right into the next shot. This is gonna look very familiar for many Star Wars fans. We have front and center there a Bantha and a Tusken Raider. Plus, as we just were talking about, the Razor Crest is it's in the atmosphere there. It's magically repaired, or if this could be before those events, we are not certain yet. But what do you guys think about the return to Tatooine? We went there in episode 5 of season 1. What do you think about this one, Milton?
I think it's a good thing. First of all, I think it's something old yet new. I say that because I think we're going to see a different side of Tatooine. I mean, we've seen it in multiple films in the prequels and original trilogy, but we haven't seen it in the new sequel trilogy. So I think there's been a good time away from Tatooine to where we are going to look forward to this. We're going to be like, oh my God, we're back home again. So it's nice to see that familiarity. I think that too, we're going to see a lot of new stuff with Tatooine because I think we're going to see a side of it where we're like, oh, this isn't just a desert planet. There's more to it. Kind of like
Yep.
we're probably going to see the underbelly of maybe the gangster side of Tatooine, even though we got a glimpse of
Ooh.
it with Jabba in Return of the Jedi and
Yeah.
in A New Hope. I think this show and this particular season is going to flesh out more of that. I think we're going to get a lot of things that may surprise us about Tatooine within this season, and I can't wait. Again, the first thought was to me was Tatooine, and I think that's amazing. It's something that we need to go back to because it's only 7 years after Return of the Jedi,
About 5 or so.
um,
Yeah.
5. So we know that with Boba Fett being the one that's going to be coming back as one of these characters, I guarantee this may be a setup to us finding out where is he currently residing.
Mhm.
Maybe Mando finds some evidence of Boba Fett still being around. We don't know.
Yeah, so you made some great points there. I want to touch on all of those. So, yeah, you were talking about Jabba the Hutt. For those of you that aren't sure about what the heck is going on in canon, Jabba the Hutt, as we know, is dead. So he was like the kingpin of crime on Tatooine and
Yes.
in a large part of the Outer Rim. It's a huge power vacuum, if we find out in the Aftermath books by Chuck Wendig. Let me kind of move up the glasses on the bridge of my nose here for this quick breakdown. So we have the sail barge crashes into the Sarlacc pit, hence destroying the Sarlacc pit and everything that was inside of it, including a Boba Fett that we don't know the exact whereabouts or if he's actually alive. All we do know is that there is a lawman on Tatooine trying to bring law to this lawless planet. His name is Cobb Vanth. He apparently makes a deal with somebody to get the armor of Boba Fett, and he is seen wearing the armor of Boba Fett. So I think people that were saying during season 1 everybody was saying episode 5 was like the pointless episode. Like it just didn't amount to pretty much anything. Like, oh, this is just a nostalgia trip for Dave Filoni to just have us all go back to Mos Eisley and see like, oh, that's where Han's sat, and oh, those are Tusken Raiders. I think people have to watch the whole series because I think that laid the groundwork. I mean, you've seen at the end of episode 5 that almost post-credit sequence where at nighttime you have somebody that is going towards the assassin that is being played by the character Ming-Na Wen, or the actor Ming-Na Wen.
Yes, I forgot about that. Yeah.
And there's a spur sound to this mysterious figure that is walking that is not in Boba Fett armor. I think that could actually be Boba Fett that was walking without his armor, seeing what the heck's going on. Why is there this death happening to this extremely good bounty mercenary? How is she getting killed by somebody? Somebody's on my turf. I got to find out what's happening here. So, yeah, it's going to be a super interesting. Do you have any thoughts about this? Oh, I'm sure you have many thoughts about this, Ben.
Oh yeah, I mean, when all that news came out, I was messaging you right away, and I just really think when it comes to that, well, to get back to the screenshot, I think all the Tatooine stuff is great. Seeing Banthas, just Tatooine, we can't overdo it. That is my only concern with the Mandalorian, is I don't want it to turn into, hey, we're on Tatooine. Look, guys, here's a Tusken Raider. I don't want it to be like a nostalgia trip, because I do like the whole thing of expanding the Star Wars universe. And, that's what I really like about this show is, they have the opportunity to go anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
So that is one thought and a little concern, but, their track record has been great on this so far.
Yeah.
And in regards to the Boba Fett thing, I think it could either be, we could either be going along the lines of Cobb Vanth, or we could either be going, maybe if it is Cobb Vanth, maybe Din teams up with Boba Fett to take out Cobb Vanth. I mean, to get his armor back.
Here's my
how else is he going to get his armor? Because they're not going to just have Tamara Morrison come back to play him out of his armor. There's zero chance for that, in my opinion.
Here's my thing, though, right? Because Boba Fett is really, him and his father, Jango Fett, are really pretenders and kind of spit on the name of Mandalorians. If, there's a quick aside line in Clone Wars Season 5 where it's like, they pretty much confirm, like, oh, yeah, Jango Fett, he wasn't even one of us. He just had our armor. So I could actually see Mandalorian getting really mad when he finds out that Boba Fett was, like, using his family's, basically, lack of better term, armor, and he didn't deserve to wear it. So I think it could almost be like a Punisher and Daredevil vibe from that series on Netflix running into The Mandalorian, where you have these two epic warriors going head to head that have different ideals. So maybe Cobb Vanth could be like the middleman that says, oh yeah, this guy is the one that actually had the armor. Although if he sees anybody in Mandalore's armor, he's gonna get pissed off. But
oh yeah.
Yeah, so moving on here. Now, we go from a desert landscape to what could be an Arctic, very frozen tundra landscape with a huge canyon running through. What do you guys have to say about this? Because this is something we haven't seen in Star Wars in a long time, something like this.
I don't know. This one kind of confused me a little bit, because I was thinking like maybe this is where he's going to locate some potential Jedi.
Yeah.
They made a really significant point to talk about the Jedi in this trailer and say like the sorcerers of Jedi, or how they say it. They talk about how they're a known enemy or something to that extent. I think this is where we're going to start seeing the mystery of this whole season. I think this planet's going to be very significant. I have no idea what's it called or what's it going to be, so I'm very curious to see what Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau is going to show us here. I like the way it looks. Again, it looks very real, very much lived in, and somewhere where we can actually probably be. I don't know. This shot kind of has me a little on edge, because I don't know much about it, and that's a good thing. Like, I want to be surprised when I get to this planet.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Is that there's planets that we know right away, just like the previous slide of Tatooine. Like, you have the iconic canyons and a character that we've seen Tusken Raiders. We know they live there. Whereas you've seen something like this, it kind of reminds me, going back to the Rogue One trailer, when we see the gunship flying over the waste of Jeddah, and they have
Mhm.
kind of this cracked terrain from
Yeah.
overhead that looks very similar. I'm like, oh, this reminds me of that. Did you have any kind of thought like that, Ben?
Oh yeah, I have a lot to say about this particular screenshot actually.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a few points to make. There was a quote from Jon Favreau talking about we could potentially get a little bit of the origins of the First Order in this show, a little bit.
Hmm.
So my one theory is, could this be, the beginning or the remnants of where, or not the remnants, I guess it would be the beginning of where Starkiller Base could be potentially being built
Good
or
point.
put at. There's
Mhm.
that's one potential idea, and then another potential idea is, obviously like Milton was saying, with the Force, Jedi, etc. Could this be Ilum taking Baby Yoda, or well, the child there? You know, could it be Ilum, or also another one? I'm sure you would like this idea, Chris. After our last season of Clone Wars, could this be the ice planet where Ahsoka's lightsaber was at the very
Huh.
end? Where Vader gets it, and then maybe that's where they get Ahsoka
That's
introduced into the
crazy.
show.
Oh,
I didn't even think of
yeah.
that.
And Dave Filoni's involved, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'll say something real quick. So Ilum, Starkiller Base, they're the same thing, but I
oh, okay.
don't think it can be Ilum or Starkiller Base because in Jedi Fallen Order, which takes place about 5 years after Revenge of the Sith, they already have like the entire equator of the planet like hollowed out,
Ooh,
almost. So yeah, that I don't think it would be likely that it's that planet, but I do like your idea about having it be the planet that is where Ahsoka, like maybe that's where she lives most of the time because maybe that's where she does her penance. Like that's where her clones went down. That was like a huge moment for her. So maybe she
Right.
goes back there because we know Vader does go back there at the end of that after credit type of epilogue scene in season 7. So maybe that's where she just tends to hang around, or maybe it can be a brand new planet. I'd like to say, hey, maybe it could be Ren Var from that good old Clone
ooh,
Wars video game where they had Ula Cal Dromo, or some of those one of those ancient Jedi or Sith. I forget who it was that was there. But yeah, every time I see a snowy planet, I'm like, oh, come on, bring in Ren Var from Legends and the Expanded Universe or something. But anyway, I think this next shot here will kind of continue on because it looks like the same kind of terrain. And this is our first good look, at least in my trailer breakdown, of the good old child. And you have the
Right.
Mandalorian, he's kneeling down. You see the brand new sigil that was put onto his right pauldron there after the events of the episode 8 of season 1. And we have a very interesting ship in the background. I definitely don't think that is the Razor Crest. It looks more like a fighter, almost like sort of like an X-wing of some sort. What do you think about this one, Ben?
yeah. I mean, like you said, it's great seeing more of the Mandalorian, Baby Yoda, all that stuff. And I agree. I noticed the ship as well when I first initially saw this trailer, and maybe I don't know. Maybe could it be a ship they're getting to help fly from wherever they are? Maybe is that the planet they're on after the Razor Crests meets its temporary doom or whatever, or could it
Yeah.
be, someone maybe helping rescue them? Maybe. See, I don't think this is where like Ahsoka comes in or any of our big potential characters come in, because I think those characters will come in more of a like dramatic way versus just like, hey, I'm in a ship, So I think it could potentially maybe just be along the lines of like you were saying earlier, like smugglers or things like that. Those type of characters maybe helping Din and the child out.
Yeah, it's definitely something that could be in the beginning of the season because now that you mentioned it, in that first shot of the Razor Crest kind of floating dead through space, like it pans around that larger planet that's in the foreground, and I think it is this planet. I think it looks like a white bluish
Mhm.
type smaller planet. So you might be onto something. You might already be threading a storyline where it's like the first episode they crash, and then the second episode they're here and they have to find a way off. They have to find a ship to get off this frozen tundra planet or something like that. And this could maybe be like episode 2 of season 1, where it was just Mandalorian and it was Baby Yoda getting to know one another. It's just them two characters and they're having to deal with surviving. Maybe we get the same sort of episode in this locale here. Anything to say about this one, Bilton?
Um, Initially I thought it was, and I know this is probably way off, but I thought it was a clone ship from
Okay. Oh, a
episode 2 or
gunship.
3 of
I could see that a little bit.
the clone troopers, because I'm thinking like, man, that front looks so familiar, and maybe like he runs into some old like clone remnants or something on the planet, and they have like some of the old clone machinery around, and I'm thinking maybe that's a stretch, but then it's Dave Filoni, it's Jon Favreau, and they do like that particular era of Star Wars, and maybe there's some old clone remnants sitting away at some planet. But then I'm thinking, well, if that's not the case, maybe they find a ship on the planet that's just been sitting there for a while, and maybe they use this ship to escape. Overall, I think this particular scene will probably invest a lot in the characters of the child and of Mando. I think we'll get a lot of that one-on-one interaction with them, just their banter back and forth, pretty much more character building, I think, at this point, particularly in the shot, because he's on that one knee. He's kind of like being that parental figure to him right now, to the child. So I think we're going to see a lot more of that side of him in this particular scene or episode when it's shown.
Oh, you just got me onto another idea. We're threading everybody's ideas together, and we're already putting thoughts in my head about how this story could go. All right, so Ben came up with the idea, or at least heard from somebody, that it could be the planet that they leave off in Clone Wars. Obviously, there'd be a lot of Clone War material on that planet, including Republic LAAT gunship platforms. There you go. Now I'm like really starting to dig with this idea here.
It just looks too on the nose for me, and maybe I'm just like, maybe I'm stretching, but you never know, man. And that's what I love about, again, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. Like they're not afraid to give us the things that everyone loved from that particular era of Star Wars, but also make it enough to where it's like, you know what, that's a little tidbit. You're going to get excited, but we're also going to give you something new and continue to evolve the story. So to me, that's more character building. That's more Star Wars building, yet recognizing the past and just always moving forward as well.
Yeah, so this next shot here has me really excited. We have so many Quarren aliens in this shot here, more than I think the entire Star Wars saga put together. It's just like, wow, there's so many Quarren, but then also in the foreground here, you have aliens. Now, I don't know if they're just like youngling Mon Cala or something, and I'll get into why I think they could be Mon Cala, because I think, and we'll see more of it later on in this trailer breakdown, I think this could be the planet of Mon Cala. It's a water world. It would make sense if there's that many Quarren. They are one of the 2 species that are primary on the planet of Mon Cala. As we see in the Clone Wars, you have, half is Quarren, half are the Mon Cala. So if you see both of those species and it's really only them, it leads me to believe that it's probably Mon Cala. Would you agree with that, Milton?
Yes and no. I mean, I think that's very much a possibility.
Yeah.
Because initially seeing it in the trailer, you could go that part and be like, yes, that's the planet. But then I also thought it was Corellia, where Han Solo's from.
Yeah, that's true. That's a lot of water.
That reminds me of like shipyards. And I'm thinking, man, is this Corellia? Maybe we're getting a different side of it. Because remember how later in the trailer they're on the ocean with the ship. I'm thinking, man, like that has to be either Corellia or maybe the planet you mentioned before. But I don't know. Again, what's great about this trailer, I don't know where we're at all the time, which is fine. Like, I want to sit there and watch it for the first time and say, I think I know where that place is, but they might say, oh no, this is this. And again, maybe something familiar that we've seen before. It's just they're going to detail it out for us in live action. So again, it's a beautiful shot, though. I will say it's a beautiful shot. It's a lot of it feels so Star Wars, man. It feels so original trilogy.
Yeah.
I can't get enough of that shot. That's probably my favorite shot in the whole trailer.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge nautical guy. I play a game called Sea of Thieves, and it's a lot of fun. And now I'm like, we're getting that kind of stuff in Star Wars. Like, sign me up. Like, this is stuff I've wanted to see. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, we've seen like 5 desert planets. We barely have any water worlds. We have Camino, we have Corellia, we have Mon Cala, which has never been live action. So yeah, give me more water worlds. Give me my more diverse locations. Like, we're already getting so many. Like the previous episode, the previous shot is all frozen tundra. So there you go. Ben, anything stick out in particular with the shot to you?
I pretty much echo all the same thoughts both of you guys said. I love seeing the Korra, the Mon Cala, just all that. I think, anytime in Star Wars, people are always like lightsabers, the blasters, the stormtroopers, whatever, but I feel like one of the biggest backbones of Star Wars is the aliens because, go back to 1977, one of the most iconic things is the cantina. And what is it?
Absolutely.
All the shots, like soon as Luke walks in, he's looking around and, looking at all the different aliens. And I think, that's just kind of like us as an audience as well. Like, we get so excited or so just intrigued, just like Luke was in episode 4, seeing all these different aliens for the first time. And,
Right.
this show's really bringing it in that department as well.
Yeah. No, I agree with that, Ben. I think the Mandalorian television show is going to do a good job at bring the audience in the sense of putting us at ease, in the sense of like, okay, we may think we know what we're looking at, we may think that we've seen everything, but they're going to give us something that's like, oh wait, wow, I feel like I haven't seen this before. We need that freshness still, and I think with a shot like this, with the aliens continuously evolving in the show, that's going to just make us more in tune with the show and want to be more connected with it. Seeing like, oh my God, that's a different perspective of aliens I've never seen before, or different views of this particular planet. I mean, it's just, again, I want to have that wide-eyed, vision again as a little kid saying, oh my God, that's awesome to see that. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, and this is what happens when you get fans of the original Star Wars that are old enough to start having a hand in creating it. I mean, you have Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni at the helm, and they are clearly appealing to the fans out there. I mean, at the Celebration in Chicago panel, they're like, yeah, there's a ton of legend stuff in this first season, and it was all over the place in season 1. They had such great pullbacks, even to callbacks, even to the holiday special, Life Day, and stuff like that, where it was like the hardcore fans will get it, and if you're not a hardcore fan like my mother that watches the show, it's okay. You don't need to know that information to still enjoy the show. So going on to the next image here, I think this could be the most revealing image that we get, at least in my opinion, for this first trailer. Hopefully we'll get more than one trailer. But we have what is easily identifiable as the wrestler Tyra Banks in this image. And Tasha Banks, sorry. I don't have any experience with ever watching wrestling, really, especially with her in it. So I do not have a lot to say about anything about this actress. But what I will say is the way they introduce this character in a trailer is very interesting, because we have that monologue with the armor that's talking about that same lines from the end of season 1, which is said. Well, I love having that line, the quotes in there, because it leads into what this season 2 is going to be all about. The Mandalorian delivering a child to somebody that's going to be able to actually take care of him and understand what he's going through with the Force. And they say Jedi in this trailer, and they leave it right off at her character, like, oh, I think it's a misdirect. I don't think she's going to be a Jedi, but she certainly looks like one. And I'm just going to throw this out there. I think she's a witch of Dathomir. I don't know. Just the way she just disappears out of thin air, and she's wearing that cloak. I just feel like she's either a Night Sister or from Dathomir or something like that. What do you think about that, Ben?
Oh, yeah. You hit the nail right on the head because, well, for starters, let me just rewind a little bit. So I think, there was a lot of speculation initially that she was going to be Sabine. My only concern with that is if you go and introduce Sabine, for example, there's a lot of like Rebels fans that could be like, ooh, Sabine, blah, 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 blah. But the general audience, we only have a 25, 30-minute episode. So the general audience, how are you going to tell a Sabine backstory, for the general audience? That would be my number one concern with the Sabine type of theory. But along the lines of yours, Chris, I think she's either a Witch of Dathomir or some type of a dark side Force user, because when, talking about the lines that you were talking about, they're talking about the Jedi and all that, but as soon as it cuts to her, if you listen to it again, he says enemy sorcerers, and it cuts to her when he says that, though. So, he says the word enemy right when it goes to her. So like that, that implies to me
Oh man.
that implies to me that could be our villain. So, on another side tangent anyways. So, you have Moff Gideon with the Darksaber. The thing is, my concern with him is, if you have Ahsoka, for example, think of this like in terms of our, like the Star Wars movies. You have to have Luke, Vader. You have to have two people that,
Oh yeah.
balance each other out, type of thing. So my thing is Ahsoka versus Gideon. If Gideon doesn't have the Force, she's gonna just smoke him.
Yeah, wreck him.
Yep. So exactly, 100%. So if you have Ahsoka, you have to have some type of an equal, or it's going to just be like Vader and Rogue One. There's not going to be any chance. So I think her equal or potential enemy could be Sasha Banks's character, whether it be, some type of a dark side user. And I think that could be our potential villain for whatever the arc the Ahsoka character is. Like, say if it's a couple episodes, I think her character will be in as long as Ahsoka's in the show.
Yeah, I'm thinking about this now, and this is why I love doing this already with more than one person, with me not talking to myself doing these as I usually do, because I love spitting off ideas of everybody that's involved with this right now, and it's awesome to be able to do that. And I'm sitting here thinking maybe she's an Inquisitor that survived all the way through Return of the Jedi. Maybe, I mean, there's a ton of Inquisitors out there. They couldn't have all just died off, right? There's maybe some of them that got disillusioned. They didn't feel like doing it anymore or something. Or there's an order by Moff Gideon. He might not be a Force user, but maybe he's tapping her as one that's able to track down Baby Yoda.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree. And I guess my thoughts on that would be, I'm gonna take a gauntlet shot here. I don't think we'll see any Jedi except for Ahsoka this year in this series. I don't think we'll see Jedi in this season. I think season 3 is where we'll get more of the Jedi and like scenery, because I still think they want to push that out and focus on the underbelly of the remnants of the Empire and where we're going forward with the story. But there will be references throughout this whole series, and I think put it out there already. So bandwagon on the internet right now, you can hear whatever it is. We're going to get mentions of Luke Skywalker somewhere. I guarantee it. They're going to say, well, Luke Skywalker might be the one who may be able to, look into the child or something, because he's the only one that's pretty much out there as the primary Jedi that we know of at this time, and he's probably trying to build the Jedi Academy at this point with the New Order, with the New Republic. So I think we'll get a reference to him. I think this dark side character, like Ben's saying, it's a huge potential. I think they'll try to stay away from the Jedi with the dark side Force users, though. Like I said, I'm just super curious and super excited about this character, because I feel like we're going to see something very telling with this character throughout the evolution of the season.
Yeah, definitely. So moving over to the next image here, we're going to go back to the water world. We had a lot of thoughts on this world, whether we thought it was Corellia, whether we thought it was Mon Cala. I've been looking at this photo for the last minute or so, and I have to agree with Milton. I think you also might have hit the nail on the head for something here, because I'm looking at the design of this craft, and it reeks of Corellia for me, because like you see how dirty this thing looks. Even just the regular design looks more blocky, more like something like a YT 1300, manufacturer would look like, because at least in the comics, at least in the Clone Wars, the design of Mon Calamari craft is very spherical, like it's all rounded edges. They make really beautiful craft, as you see the Mon Calamari cruisers, same bulbous kind of design. This is nothing like that. So I don't know. I think Milton, I think you could be onto something here.
Well, yeah, because I know Corellia for me was probably one of my favorite scenes in the Solo movie, and just seeing where Han grew up and whatnot, and just seeing the whole shipyard components, because the Empire were using their ports for building their ships. So I think this is where we're going to go back to see what's that like after now the Empire has been destroyed. So I'm curious to see what we get out of that. But yeah, I really think I truly believe it's Corellia, and I could be off, but if I'm right, thank you, Filoni and Favreau, because it was a great move. Because we still need to see more of that remnants of what the Empire is doing. Because let's be real here, they're not going away. Like yeah, they went into hiding and they signed a treaty, but there's people out there trying to get their power back, and clearly Moff Gideon's one of them. He's got to be working for somebody. So
yes, Ben. Over or under, do you think that this is going to be the planet of Corellia, birthplace of Han Solo? Over under,
dang,
like
you're
50.
putting me on the spot. Ooh, that's a tough one. I think there is a... Okay, if I had to put a percentage on it, I'd say 40% Mon Cala, 40% Corellia, and 20% new planet.
Or let me throw this out there as a Legends lover of the Knights of the Republic series, Manon. No, it can't be Manon. Manon is very much like.
So Chris, hey, for all we know, it could be. I mean, think these. It's not like we're getting some scrub creators creating this. Like these are two guys that really, really enjoy the lore of Star Wars. So it wouldn't shock me if they pulled from Old Republic or from Legends to say, hey, this is a planet that you've heard of. You just never seen it, and we're going to reference it and give you some description of it. Like, it would not shock me with anything we see in this whole series, because these two guys love the project and they know what they need to pull from to say, hey, the fans are going to know this, they're going to see this, they're going to be excited about this, but yet we're going to give you something else as well. So again, it could be, I'm with Ben at this point. It could be 40%, particular planet, and 20% milk.
Or what if? I just thought of this on the spot to throw a dart way out there. What if, so go back to season 1, as soon as Mando's walking in with Werner Herzog's character, can't think of his name.
The client.
The client. When he's walking in there and there's that scientist, the scientist has a Camino patch on his arm.
Oh.
What if this is Camino connecting to Milton's clones, Tamara Morrison, Boba Fett? What if we see, Captain Rex is a clone? Maybe they go back to Camino for something. Maybe Captain Rex is, I don't know, just something. Just throwing that out there as a potential.
I just thought about something too. That's such a good point, because I think the Legacy of the Force books, it's either that one or the Yu Zhang Vong series. Because I know Boba Fett's in those stories. He's still in communication with Camino, because they have to give a new arm at one point because his body's breaking down because he is a clone. So that would not shock me. Again, Legends, man, they're going to pull from this, and that's Ben. You got me there. So if that's what's going to happen, I'm cool with it. If he's on Camino trying to get healthy because his body's breaking down and maybe the aging process is catching up to him quick. You never know.
Yeah, so breaking off of that point, that awesome theory, we do know, and this is a rumor because the series is not even officially announced yet, but there are a lot of leaks and rumors that this Rebels successor series, one of the storylines would be indeed of Rex and Ahsoka going back to Camino to somehow reverse the aging process of Captain Rex. So you're kind of onto something there.
I never heard that.
It was out there, but I remember just going, oh, that's a great idea. I mean, what the heck? It could happen, but looking at this next image here, which it'll continue our conversation about this, because we could just get another angle of the ship here. And in this ship, we clearly see Baby Yoda just enjoying himself. He's in that pram again, I think they call it. And they're just sailing away. And you look at the horizon, and there is nothing. There's no land masses whatsoever. You see a mist over the water on the edges where you can see it. So they are just out in the middle of freaking nowhere. I just don't even know why they're on this boat to begin with. You got ships. Why don't you just fly directly to the destination that you're going to when you're just going on a luxury cruise around this planet?
Yeah, maybe he thinks he's Jack Sparrow. Who knows? You got to get a ship or something. But, I mean, I think it's a beautiful shot, and it's nice to see the color palette and what they use in this particular shot. You can tell this is a planet that's been through a lot. Um, Again, I'm very impressed with the look of this season. I mean, that's where I can take away from all the shots that we've seen so far and going forward, is that, man, the last 7 years have been hell in the galaxy,
Yeah.
for like just with what's going on. So,
Yeah, because basically, a lot of people thought in the galaxy, this is according to a lot of novels and comics out there now, that, oh yeah, the Empire destroying them would be great on us. And they realized, like, the Empire is actually pretty good in some places because they were the ones that
mhm.
were holding back the thieves and the villains that were just, and now they're running rampant. And the New Republic is not like large or solidified enough, even 5 years later, to be able to keep a hold on
Right,
these things. And that's why they have the bounty guilds. They're like a respectable job at that point. They're not just for scum people. Like, they're like that the people that are keeping law and order. Like the Mandalorian's like a good guy, even though bounty hunters sound like they're bad. They're there to handle what the New Republic can't do right now, and that's why there's some derision in season one when Mandalorian is like, "What do you want me to get to call the New Republic?" Or Grief Karga might have said something like that, and it was like a joke to him. He's like, "They're not
yeah,
gonna do crap. Like they're not out here." So yeah, that's definitely gonna run into that problem there of just yeah, like you said, the galaxy has been through hell. But then looking at this next shot here, Ben, we have the Razor Crest being flanked by X-wings, and these are T-65 X-wings. These are like the original trilogy X-wings. This is one of my favorite shots by far. This is so cool to see these iconic ships. Yeah, I'm already calling Razor Crest iconic because I just love the design. But you've seen it. We've seen X-wings in season one. We've seen that episode 6. They came in. You had the director squadron, as they called it, with Dave Filoni, Rick Famuyiwa, and Deborah Chow. All the directors of different episodes came in there and just destroyed that place. So I love seeing the X-wings again, and it looks like we're going to see them for a lot longer than just a few seconds that we did in season one. So, initial thoughts on this one, Ben?
I think there's a possibility. See, I think if you look at the picture, I think they're not. I don't think they're I don't think they're going to try to attack the Razor Crest though. I think it's a potential like military escort type of thing, or maybe the Razor Crest is like surrendering and so on because you know with the empires, or well, not the remnant of the empires, they're the bounty, they're wanting to get the child. Maybe the Republic sees the child and they're like, hey, maybe we should get this special
Oh,
being before the remnants of the empire do, and try to use its power for evil purposes and stuff. So maybe it's that, or it's maybe they're like, hey, Din Djarin is this dangerous bounty hunter. Maybe we should get this kid from him. And I don't know.
the,
I don't know. I think there's many ways this shot could go, really.
yeah,
right.
it's interesting that you say the Republic could have an interest. Yeah, why wouldn't they have an interest in this being that is super powered? And, especially like Luke Skywalker would know a lot about this creature, being maybe it's a descendant of Yoda or something somehow. But yeah, Milton, thoughts on this?
Again, I have to agree with Ben on this one. I think with the particulars of what the purpose of the New Republic is going to be all about, we may get some of their backstory a little bit, with why they get involved with the Mandalorian, why they show up on random occasions. Um, I feel like, again, maybe we'll get references again, like to Luke Skywalker, to maybe their interest in wanting the child. So I think that could be fleshed out a little bit. But overall, I think it's a little bit. I'm just curious to see what the role of the New Republic is going to be in this particular season. Maybe we might get a shot of them at Coruscant, or at
Oh,
what's the planet that got blew up,
Hazian
in,
Prime.
in Hacian Prime. Yeah, like we could see that. I mean, we never know, but I'm hoping we get some of those shots, or at least just some of those references, just to say, hey, what's going on with the New Republic? What's their role in this new particular era of Star Wars? Because we really don't know much except for from the books.
Yeah,
And like Ben mentioned before, maybe you said something, Chris. Not all the uh, regular Star Wars fans know about that. The sweaties like us, we know about that, but not the average fan who watches on occasion.
yeah. So you mentioned Milton about what's going on here with the New Republic and whatnot. And I think it'd be interesting because the New Republic is trying to go and wipe out the Empire. So, and I'm particularly looking at the next shot here of it flying through the clouds. And at first I thought, oh my gosh, are the X-Wings in pursuit of the Razor Crest? Because they're going at very fast speeds and the Razor Crest is ahead. But maybe the Razor Crest is like leading the X-Wings on some kind of raiding party to like go after the Empire's outposts that they've found somehow. But also talking about Hosnian Prime and Coruscant, it was known in an article, I think by Entertainment Weekly that came out last week. Dave Filoni or Favreau, whoever, did confirm that there's going to be 8 episodes first off, but the episodes are not going to be solely focused on Mandalorian every single episode or every single moment of every episode. So they even equated it, I think, to like Game of Thrones, where Game of Thrones has perspectives of so many characters. So you can have 5 minutes on this character over here, 5 minutes on the villain of Moff Gideon over here. So I think it's highly likely that we might see like locations like that build up more of the backstory, because people have been wanting to know for years now, like, what the heck is the deal with Hosnian Prime? What the heck is the deal with the New Republic? They showed up barely in Force Awakens and they're already gone. So we want to know more about that. So do you agree with that, Ben?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think it's, with that premise in mind of the potential like Game of Thrones-esque, tying in of storylines, I think we could have an A and a B and a C plot all going on at once. Like episode 1, you have this, 2, you have this, 3, you have this, and then episode 4 will tie in all those 3 stories. And I think you could have that potential overlap, every few episodes, a tie-in from the previous 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever. And then, once we get to the finale, it'll tie in all, the previous 7 episodes. So I think there's a good chance of that. And then in regards to the New Republic stuff, I think we'll get some of it. But again, a concern I was addressing to one of my friends before we hopped on here is, these episodes are only 30, 35 minutes at most. So how much detail can we really get into, or how much can we really squeeze into a 30, 35-minute block? That's the only thing when it comes to, us hardcore Star Wars fans. We just want to like stretch everything out for like 20 hours straight. But when it comes to like the general audience, what type of a quick, snappy storyline, can they, get their point across and keep on rolling? That's the only thing with fleshing out a story like that. Is the New Republic, is it that much of a concern overall for general audience members? I'm not sure.
Yeah. So
I think that's a good point, Ben. You're right. Yep. I mean, Chris, go ahead. I apologize.
Oh no, yeah, you can. I was just gonna say they actually said the episode length is gonna be even more variable than season 1. So there might be like a 50-minute episode and maybe a 30-minute episode the following week. So at least they were open and saying like, hey, season 2 is going to be different for length of the episodes as well as like perspective of characters. But yeah, you can go, Milton.
No, I was building off of what Ben was saying. And maybe the focus can be shifted on, because we've only seen, again, any remnants of government in the show has been about the old empire. So we still don't know who tried to hire to get the child. We have no idea who's that. We just know the client of Herzog. So who's he working for? Who does Moff Gideon work for? Who's he report to? So maybe we'll get those stories, and maybe that will be our political side throughout the season 2. Because I mean, as much as I like Giancarlo Esposito as the main villain, I feel like there's someone behind the shadows that we heard of before, and I think that will be tied to our like political stuff here. Just saying.
I mean, the only higher up character you can go is really the Emperor.
Wow, we go the Emperor. Gosh,
but at this point, I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm not thinking about Snoke. I'm not thinking of Palpatine. But I mean, it could be someone that just is sitting in the background that is trying to rebuild the old Republic, which may tie into the rebuilding or the rebranding of the First Order. Again, I mean, hell, it could be, what's her name, like Ray Sloan or something. At this point.
Man, don't even try to get me excited about that, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because honestly, like, we all would prefer to see Ray Sloan in live action. As much
Seriously.
As that character got over in the books and in the comic books. So if they're saying, hey, you know what, Ray Sloan's still sitting in the background and and she's trying to get things taken care of because they went out into like the outer rim and everything. Maybe she's the one that knows something about this child, and she's hiring these people to get the child back. Like that'd be cool. Like that'd be one hell of a spin to say Ray Sloane's our baddie in this whole series.
Yeah,
Like I'm just saying.
I should just like title this YouTube video like, "Don't watch this video if you want to get your hopes up for a lot of stuff that'll happen," because
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is the greatest plot lines that I've heard yet. Um, Moving along to this next image, this also gets me very hyped, and we are back on most likely what could be a Tatooine with one of my favorite vehicles in Star Wars in general, and that has to be a swoop bike. Goes back to Shadows of the Empire, my fascination with swoop bikes, that whole level where you're as Dash Rendar, you're racing to go get Luke Skywalker, and you're going through Beggar's Canyon, and this got me so much of those vibes. I'm like, all I need is Dash Rendar to show up in this show, and I'm gonna just be like, I'm done. Like seriously, this is awesome. Any thoughts? I mean, just the shot looks beautiful too. Just the way it's presented, it's just so clean. Like the horizon, the skyline, and just the cliffs in the background. Looks just so cool. I mean, I think there's two people on the swoop bike. If you just pause it at the right moment, at least when I watched it the couple times I did, it looks like there are more than one person on there. So I can't make it out if they're two full-grown humans or if one of them's Baby Yoda. I don't know, but I'm excited to see this thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, me too. I think it's a beautiful shot. I mean, again, anytime we get any type of desert planet or shot like this, the Star Wars seems to be doing that well and doing it justice. So I'm excited for this. I'm just curious, like everyone else, to see what it's going to be.
Oh yeah. I mean, for all we know, Mando and Baby Yoda, they could be going to Tashi Station to get some power converters for all we know.
Right?
Oh man, talk
yeah,
about
good
really
shot, good shot.
sticking it to the fans that have been through it all. Next, I'm surprised about this shot here. This is the only shot we have of our good old buddies Grief Karga and Cara Dune. This is it. Like this, the whole trailer. We see them for like 1 second, and they are pretty big characters in the previous season. And it looks like they're on Navarro, right? Because those arches behind them look like it to me. I mean, it almost looks like it's more of like a tannish color, the area, but maybe they have seasons on Navarro. Maybe it's more of summer instead of winter or whatever it could have been in the previous series. But what did you think of this one, Milton?
Again, I love the shot. I mean, you can't go wrong with these characters. These characters actually, I really enjoyed them toward the end of the season, especially Grief Karga, because he was just that grimy, gritty,
Yep.
cagey, guy that we did not trust when we first met him. But we got to see what he's truly like as the show went on, and I think he's going to be a legitimate, great ally for Mando. As for Cara Dune, I mean, Gina Carano is super, super over. Like she does no wrong in my book. I think her character's going to get more character development. I know right now she's going through a little drama right now online, but
Yeah.
I think once the show starts, the people will be like, okay, she's a great character in this show, and she's awesome. I mean, she's a badass. I think we're going to see more badassery with her throughout this whole season.
Oh yeah, definitely. I like you noted, Chris. I thought this was pretty peculiar that it was, the only shot we really get of the, the original. Not really original crew because they weren't there for every single episode, but the original crew from season 1. So I thought that was interesting. Like you said, Milton, I love Grief Karga, love Cara Dune. Both of their characters' chemistry. I think their chemistry as a I don't know what 4 people are. 4 instead of a trio, whatever. The 4 main characters of the show. A what?
Is it called a quartet?
Oh, a quartet. Yeah, that's what it is. So, the quartet of the main characters, I think they have such a unique chemistry because, Baby Yoda's Baby Yoda or the child, whatever. And then you got Din and Cara and Grief. I think they have such a good dynamic, like Grief's chemistry with Yoda or the child, and then, her chemistry with Mando, and, just that back and forth. I think it's really great. And then, like you said, Milton, with Gina Carano, setting aside what's going on right now, I really appreciate, though, that, they're actually showing, like, a female lead that doesn't have to be, like, the most skinniest little petite woman.
Absolutely.
because everyone nowadays, like, and for good reason, there should be more like equal casting among men, women, all the races, but along with those issues, they need to also, I think, look at the body types of characters as well, and not just judge people like, are you ripped? Do you look like a weightlifter? If not, you can't star in our show. And like Gina Carano, she's like athletic and all that, but she's not like the skinniest, most petite little woman. And I think that's a really good thing, because that can be a really good, you know, like a good role model for younger women, because they could look at her and go, oh, I don't have to, I can be in Star Wars, or I can be in whatever movie or do whatever, and I don't have to be the most skinny, petite, little person possible. But on the flip side, I'm not saying that's, people that are like that are a bad thing by any stretch. I just think, it's a really good role model for, just people to look at and be like, hey, that's a cool thing.
Well, I mean, because you're right. They're showing an actual diverse way of how the world looks. There's athletic looking women that are a little bit thicker, that are a little more filled out. There's women that are athletic but are a little bit petite or skinnier, and nothing wrong with either of them. I think I just want to see a great character who plays their role the best they can. And I think, Gina Carano playing this Cara Dune character from day one, I'm like, yeah, I believe her. I believe she can kick my ass if I was in Star Wars. And she's shown it. I mean, I know in real life she's a UFC fighter, an MMA fighter, which even makes it even more epic, because we know that's actually her doing her stunts for most of the time. And it's great to see that we have these strong characters, especially looking in this character who's a woman, that she holds her own in this world that's dominated by males and men. It's like, yeah, I can see her kicking a lot of men's asses in this show, and that's okay. So,
yeah, I love what you guys said, the input. That's just not Star Wars related, but for cinema in general, I think it's very important. Yeah, I'll just agree with you guys. It's great that there's options out there for people that can't get that body type, or just don't want to have the body type of being the absolute like most ripped person alive or whatever. It just adds to the realism. It adds to what the universe is about. It makes the story again more grounded. More, yeah.
Hey, can I put you on mute for a second, buddy? There's someone at my front door. I apologize.
Sure, no problem. Yeah, but anyway, look at Grief Karga here. I think he looks like he aged just a little bit, don't you think, Ben? Like,
I noticed that as well.
And gray. Like, what has he been going through?
Well, and also even going back to the who does the Star Wars spreads? EW. Going back to the EW spread, the pictures of Grief Karga as well. He looks great. I mean, and I went and I pulled up some pictures from him of season 1, and he wasn't great. So there's some type of time jump that has happened during this. So So you have that, and I really like their like I said, I really like the chemistry between the main characters. I really do. I think it's one of the best parts of the show. Really, I mean, even just not even the main characters, like the chemistry across all of the characters in general. Like, when you have Din bumping into, the young rookie bounty hunter in Mos Eisley, the casting, like the characters, and then that woman who was babysitting the child, all the back and forth, I think, are really, really good. Bill Burr was great.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's really shown with a Star Wars series. Like, we didn't know what to expect, right? We didn't know. We've gotten plenty of animated series, but live action, how does that look compared to the film? And the answer is, there really isn't a difference. To my eyes, like, they're on equal, if not, this is even better, because we're getting more of those character moments that you can't get in a movie. You're getting more of those intimate scenes.
Oh yeah, one other point too when it comes to this about TV shows, and this is my just a little even side tangent about the Solo movie, like people that criticize that. I think the big thing some Star Wars fans need to realize is every single piece of Star Wars content, it doesn't have to be the galaxy hanging in the balance, like, and that's what I really like about this show, because sure, we're talking about the stakes with the child and some of the Empire remnants and so on. But for example, say if, I don't know, the planet where all these people are on just gets blown up by Starkiller Base in a few years, their missions and stuff going on right now are not the big galactic implications like Luke and Leia and Han and Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. Like, it's such a smaller scale story, and I like that a lot, that we don't have to have, the end of the world as the main storyline.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because
Yeah,
now
I
that
agree
we're
with that
outside of the saga, oh, go
100%.
ahead, Milton.
No, I agree with that 100%. I mean, I think people need to understand, like, to them, this is their real world. Like, to them, there's more important things than just Star Killer Base, if that was going on during this time. But, that's just an example. Like, they have their own personal side missions or their own world that they're living in, like each Star Wars character. So, great point. I think that it's nice to see these side stories.
So we're gonna get into some photos here that are gonna start showing us more about the remnants of the Empire. So this image I'm looking at here shocked me as well because up until now I thought Moff Gideon just had the special TIE fighter because he was the Moff and he could get whatever he wants because he is the leader of these Imperials. He can spend money to customize his TIE, but apparently I guess all ties are going to be like this because we see one, two, three, four TIE fighters that are folding in half, about to take off to do something. They're on, maybe that's Tatooine. I'm not sure exactly what kind of planet it is. I don't see enough of the terrain to really be able to tell. But Milton, what do you think about multiple specialized TIE fighters here?
I'm fine with it. I mean, first of all, it's a gorgeous shot. I mean, looking at it right now, it's a gorgeous shot, and I think it goes to show like the Empire has had some technology sitting around that we just didn't know about for a
Yeah.
while, and maybe Moff Gideon is one of their Imperial scientists on the side who might have access to some of this stuff. And I think speaking of Moff Gideon, we're going to get a lot of his backstory, I think, in this
Mm-hmm.
season. I think we're going to understand what's his purpose and what's he trying to do. Seeing that the Empire is still alive and well for the most part is kind of refreshing because, and let's be real here, any type of regime change in real life, they don't just go away like we want them to. Like there's always those freedom fighters or those that resistance within those regimes that we're trying to get rid of. And it's nice to see that we're going to see some of that conflict, and that's awesome to see because that just reflects real life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ben, what do you have to
Oh
say
yeah,
about this one?
I totally agree with you on those points. But also a random thought I thought of as well when you were counting the TIE fighters is what if, connecting back to where the X-Wings and the Razor Crest were, what if this is our dogfight we get? The X-Wings, Razor Crest, TIE
Uh,
fighters, maybe that.
oh,
Maybe
that'd be a lot of
that.
fun. Because we get that little dogfight in season one, episode 5. That's why he goes to Tatooine. He gets his crap knocked out of him in that ship. I would love to see more of a bigger scale battle. Imagine seeing that in a live action TV show. Like, we would think we're dreaming, like, 5 years ago. Like, yeah, they would never have the budget to have a full fledged dogfight in a Star Wars live action series. Like, well, you haven't seen season one, have you? Because now they can. And think about it this way, too. The way I was thinking about it is season one, they had to probably dump so much money into R&D just to create the panoramic screens and all that with the volume.
Mhm.
I could imagine at season two they already had that stuff set, so that might leave them with more money to spend, where they could do crazy like visual effects shots for like a 5 or 6 minute long dogfight or something like that.
Right. Yeah, and honestly, potentially could be the opening shot, one of the opening shots in the new season because Moff Gideon, we know at the end when he gets out of the ship with the dark saber, maybe these are some ships that are coming to find him to
Oh,
say, hey, we gotta look for the
Oh
Moff.
yeah.
So this could be the opening shot of is setting us up of how the field the story's going to go in this upcoming season.
yeah. So this next shot here is really interesting as well because we have, I don't know if you can call it a Star Destroyer, but it's definitely an Imperial facility. I think it's more of an outpost,
Hmm.
just judging by things because you look at the door at the end, and I don't think a Star Destroyer has like a smaller door like that. They're usually a little wider. But looking at how clean this facility is, this is a remnant empire we're talking about. This is an empire that's supposed to be gone 5 years ago, and somebody's maintaining their facade, their kind of the way they think about themselves up to the best they can, right? They have in season one, you have dirty stormtroopers with
Yep.
one dude, the client. He's got like ragtag guys that don't even fit in their armor, and you're looking at these dudes. They're filling out their armor good, and they're like running to go get something, but their armor is clean. Everything about it screams like, oh, the Empire is in full effect here, which is very intriguing.
No, that's a very good point, Chris. I didn't even notice that until you said it. Like I didn't realize how clean it looked. No, you that has to be accurate. That has to be a way because there's no way we saw dirty old stormtroopers that, and they felt like they didn't want to be there. Like you in a lot of those client scenes, they didn't want to be there. But these guys seem motivated. They seem like okay, we're there for we're rocking with the Empire no matter what. So someone's been running this facility. Again, I truly believe there is someone in the background that is manipulating to get this child, and they are doing everything they can to rebuild the Empire. So I'm just curious of who that person's going to be.
Yeah, what do you have to
Oh
say
yeah.
about this one, Ben?
Oh yeah, definitely. So I agree with you, Milton. I think there is someone in the background because I don't think the Buck's gonna stop just at Gideon. I really,
Yeah.
really don't. But when it comes to this specific shot, I didn't notice the cleanliness either until I'm just looking at it right now. Yeah, like with it being so clean, someone's obviously keeping up with it. And going back to the Entertainment Weekly spread, a lot of those shots looked like they were inside of some type of an Imperial facility. So I think connecting those shots to this shot, I think that's where we might get Gideon. And I don't know how it's going to happen, but I think at some point, either baby or the child is going to get caught by Gideon again,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and that's maybe Din and the rebels people, maybe they're going to rescue the child or something. Or something or another. I think we're going to have Din and the child and maybe the normal crew be involved in this whole scene because yeah, I think this is where maybe this could be the point maybe in the show where maybe early on where something bad is going down, like they're all captured in there and
mm-hmm.
something happens to save the day or whatever, like something along those lines possibly. I think that's how that could connect. But yeah, I think it's a really good shot overall, and again, it's really good for like the general audience because they're seeing stormtroopers.
Yeah, of course. It's like, oh, I know exactly where this is. Like, I talk to people that have watched the show. They're not exactly sure on the timeline. They're like, Chris, where is this again? I'm like, yeah, it's 5 years after Return of the Jedi. And they're like,
Yep.
oh, okay, yeah. But, the more I'm thinking about it, yeah, it probably makes sense there's somebody higher up than Moff Gideon because Moff Gideon has a dark saber. He was shooting the Mandalorian like in combat. Like that guy had no problem being a commander in the thick of it. So there's probably somebody that sent him out there to personally see to get this guy. So there's just
Mm-hmm.
layers upon layers. Like you have the client, and then above him is Moff Gideon, and then above Moff Gideon is somebody even more sinister. So that's pretty neat there. But yeah, it's interesting because if they do have another rescue situation, season or episode 6 of season 1 was so fun because you have this whole crew of motley bounty hunters tagging up to go to this New Republic cruiser to go rescue this Twi'lek dude, and I had a lot of fun with that episode because just the action of it was just so awesome. This close quarter combat where Mandalorian runs around a corner and he just takes out those droids like they're nothing. That was so
Mm-hmm.
fun. So I want to see that again with stormtroopers this time. So there you go.
No, that'd be pretty damn cool.
Yeah, this next shot here again, we're sticking with the Imperials. It looks like they're jumping off of something. If you pause that shot real quick before it moves too far away, there's like a gray platform. I think instead of a star destroyer, they're on like a hovering platform that is revolving around this planet. Because in some of the comics, like the Poe Dameron comics, they have like these big platforms. They're not star destroyers, but they're like floating aircraft carriers. And I think that might be what the previous shot is.
Mhm.
uh, Moff Gideon's actor Giancarlo Esposito said he has some big thing that I don't know if he specifically said it was a ship, but he's in charge of. So he might have something that's not a Star Destroyer exactly, but something just as impressive. So he's got like a mobile station he's going around on, and he just deploys these speeder bikes to go, oh, go get the child. And I love like seeing speeder bikes like this, like just like again, I'm a lover of swoop bikes, speeder bikes, just jumping off like this 500-foot cliff. Like it looks so impressive. And then you see them in the next shot, they're like skittering around on this like crazy turn. It looks so Star Wars, but in such a different and in like a new unique way.
Oh yeah, that.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead, Ben.
Oh, I was just about to say, yeah, them going off the cliff, that just gave me like a flashback, like instantly to episode 1 when Darth Maul just
Oh
went right over the cliff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, you're right, Ben. I mean that. And what's cool about this is it's if you're seeing, we're actually going to see, hopefully, see some badass stormtroopers do something cool. Okay, because I mean the only troopers we know that are actually something cool are the clone troopers that can actually hit something. These stormtroopers look like they've been around. They look like they're experienced. I'm hoping they actually do some damage because I want to see how threatening the Empire can be at this point, especially with the technology that they have here. And I think we might be surprised how sinister the Empire can be at times this season.
Yeah, I want to see the Empire with their backs up against the wall. I think seeing them in that position is going to be so damn terrifying because, and this is what I like talking about with Star Wars Squadrons, the upcoming game that's coming out in like 2 weeks, is it's in the same era. It's after the events of Return of the Jedi. The New Republic has the advantage against the Imperial Navy, the remnants of them, and they're pinning them against the wall, and they have to do some miraculous stuff to try to survive longer and longer. So seeing again, this is the first time where the Imperials are like the rebels from the original trilogy. They are highly outnumbered, but they have to use like guerrilla tactics and strategy, and obviously they're working in the shadows so much. Like the New Republic's like, what? We thought we killed the Imperials like 5 years ago. What do you mean? There's still sections of them around. So, yeah, I think them in that situation with this shadowy figurehead is going to be just so awesome to see what their tactics. They're going to be way more lethal. I mean, excuse me, doing some good damage. I mean, they took out the client there, and if it, they still took a chance. And in Rogue One, they annihilated like the Rogue One crew. So the Death Troopers at least stand a decent shot, and that Flame Trooper guy would have killed them all if it wasn't for Baby Yoda using the Force. And who would have thought he would have used the Force then? They were good as dead at that point.
Right. Yeah.
So looking at this next shot here, we have Mandalorian. He's under a grate in water, just struggling to get out. There's really nothing I can glean out of this shot. It just looked cool, but I'm just like, damn, like he's drowning and he's still got the helmet on. He is committed.
Yeah, that's literally all I got out of it. Is maybe, I mean, I don't think we're gonna have our main character drowned on the show, but that's literally all I got out of it too. I mean, it's just an interesting shot, and that's we've never seen it before in Star Wars, so.
Absolutely, yeah. He's going to be in a lot of danger this year. Kind of like that. Like he kind of reminds me of like Indiana Jones. He's always into some danger. He has to like, you feel like he's not going to get out of it, but he always does. So that's the thoughts I have for that one.
Mm-hmm. This next shot here, we have Mandalorian flying with his awesome jetpack. We've seen it at the end of season 1, and we've seen, according to the armor, he wasn't quite ready to use it. We've seen him kind of struggling to get to Moff Gideon's TIE fighter, and luckily he had those grappling hooks, or else probably wouldn't have ended well. But yeah, I'm interested to see how much more training he has been, how much more efficient is he, as good as Jango Fett in attacking the clones with this thing, or any of the clone troopers that we see in Clone Wars, which love using the jetpacks. So that will be interesting. What do you think about this one, Milton?
That's a good point. I didn't think about what his training would have been like this last we've seen him. Because I know what the first season did a good job of was letting us know that, yes, he's proficient, he's a badass, bounty hunter, but he's always learning and he's always trying to get better. So I'm curious to see how he's able to adapt to the new technology, the new armor that he gets, because I really enjoy that part of the show, that he gets new armor as he progresses. And I'm curious how he got I think you mentioned it earlier, Chris, he got the Mandalorian symbol on his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how he got that. I'm curious what he had to do to earn that.
Oh, so, he got it at the end of season 1, right? With the
was that what happened?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch that. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Did they give it to him at the end, or they just announced that that's what he was getting. I'm not sure if they like did the smith on his shoulder then and there, but I know
Yeah.
the armor did say like
He's
your sigil is gonna be the mud horn or
a,
something.
Yeah, because what I remember throughout the show of season one, that he always progressively got
Yeah.
his armor upgraded because he got the armor smelt or whatever. But he's always doing something to get to that point. And I guess in our culture, you have to like take a next phase or step. I'm curious to see more of that and how he just gets upgraded and how he really embraces more of the Mando way.
Yeah, it's very much like a video game, and I
Yeah,
threw this out there, and I was saying like, why don't they just make like a prequel to the Mandalorian video game, make a single player Red Dead Redemption style. You're a lone gunslinger in the galaxy, and you're going around with the Razor Crest, like. That's a perfect video game right there. They were already making the game in a sense with the series where it's like I was literally talking about that in my reviews of season one. Like this feels like a video game. I'm just upgrading my armor. I'm talking to this NPC this week. I'm going to this mission. I'm gonna get some more creds. I can buy this. I can
yeah.
get more supplies. It's like oh, there's the quest giver. I gotta go talk to this person. So yeah, maybe maybe they'll make a game. What do you think about that, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a possibility for games. I think my only concern with games are, sometimes they get like bootstrapped with storylines, for the overall canon.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they sometimes have to hold their cards just so they don't take away from the, what's going to be on screen.
Yeah.
But in regards to like this shot, I think, I think we're going to actually get. I don't think we'll get any training whatsoever. I think we could potentially, he's skilled already, like soon as we get into the show, just because like we were talking about with Grief Karga aging potentially with the gray in his beard. I think, we have a time jump. So, obviously in that time jump, Mando's been using his jetpack and stuff. So I think we could
Gotcha.
potentially have him ready to go, like hit the ground running.
Yeah, I think what could happen, and I don't know if Milton was here when we were talking about it, but we were saying that there could be a time jump because Grief Karga has a lot more gray in his beard in that one shot we were looking at compared to season one. Now, what we know from the entertainment article is that it's going to pick up almost directly after the events of season one with probably Mandalorian. We're going to see him, but then maybe after that first episode, they might skip like who knows how much time, and then go to Grief Karga and see what he's doing with Cara Dune, and they're going to be doing their bounty hunting with the guild and doing all that, and they get roped back in. But yeah, there's going to be a gap. It looks pretty clear. So yeah, I mean, they're going to deal with the training that way. I'm going to go to the next shot here, which I've been able to put two and two together, and it looks like this connects to one of the first shots we were talking about earlier in the program here about maybe this is like Nar Shaddaa because we could see that same graffiti, and he's like shooting his blaster at a lamppost with some dude hanging from it. So I don't even know what the heck is happening here, but like it reminds me of like Batman or something because like Batman I think would like hang people from like different objects to like let the
Yeah.
police get them.
Is this like the Fight Club scene in the trailer? I believe that he was sitting at. That's what it looked like to me at some type of Fight Club he was at. I'm curious to see how this is going to play out because just seeing him like be confronted by the other bounty hunters at the time, and he puts out his arm, and the little light up things come out of his arm, and then the child closes his little like door.
Yeah.
Like that was cool. Like I thought that was a cool shot. Yeah, I hope this is some type of Fight Club because I'm curious to see like more of the underground stuff of like what these criminals do in their free time.
Yeah, so do you have any idea of what the heck could be happening here, Ben? 'Cause I'm trying to wrap my
Well,
head around.
with the guy hanging up, maybe I don't know. Maybe it's just like you were saying, Milton. Maybe it's outside the Fight Club. Maybe it's like hey, this is where the Fight Club is. Like I don't know. Maybe whoever loses in the fights gets hung up on that thing, and I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like we're gonna be very much like, wait, what are we looking at here? Like, what's going on here? And I'm sure once we see it and be told about it, we're gonna be like, okay, this is awesome. But yeah, this shot was one of those shots where I was like, yeah, I'm not really familiar with what I'm looking at here.
Then, as we move further along into this trailer breakdown, we go back to that frozen tundra planet's most likely the same planet. Now, this looks a lot like more like Ilum to me, as somebody that has played through Jedi Fallen Order a few times and watched that Younglings arc of Clone Wars a few times,
Mhm.
and he's even played through Ilum in Star Wars: The Old Republic's MMO. I think I know what Ilum caverns look like pretty easily, and this definitely fits the bill. So I mean, it could be a chance that it could be Ilum, but I mean, it could be any generic frozen tundra as well. So what do you think about that, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, I always think there's a possibility of Ilum popping up just because of the Force aspect being, present in the show. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know, that, and then, Ahsoka, maybe we're gonna have, like I said, maybe Ahsoka's gonna be there on Ilum with the child, and maybe it'll be maybe she'll tell like a little story about the Jedi in the past or whatever,
Yeah.
and how they had to come here, just kind of like Han did in the Force Awakens
Mhm.
when he was telling Rey the story about Luke and the Jedi and all that. Maybe we get a little Ahsoka telling a little story to the child and Din.
That'd be one hell of a story plot. I have to agree with that. I mean, again, I really feel like once we see Ahsoka in this series, we're going to get a lot of good Jedi lore, and I think we're going
Hmm.
to see. It'd be interesting to see what she looks like. I'm very curious about that, and I
Yeah.
think when we get to her component, and this is Ilum, like it'd be nice to see how she's been living there or whatnot. Like it's a beautiful shot. Like so I'm just so excited to see where the show is going to take us within the next month or so because I'm just yeah I can't wait to get enough of this. It's going to be awesome.
And getting into this next shot here, I had to include this because the visual effects of it just look awesome, and that's part of why I love Star Wars is because some of this stuff just looks so awesome, right? So it looks like this is maybe Mandalorian plummeting from the cold reaches of space down to a
Yeah,
planet. Like that's what I kind of got out of it. Like that he could be like using his jetpack and might have had to plummet an entry into the planet because you see the atmospheric like the flames just at the velocity whoever is going. It's pretty bad.
yeah. Well, and this could be tied into probably maybe the first shot that we saw of them being frozen or the ship just
Oh,
sitting in space.
Oh, good idea.
Some he had to have been in some type of battle. Like something had to have happened to where his ship gets that much damage to where he can't fly it himself, and maybe he sometime he jiggles it to get it into the atmosphere. But yeah, this one's gonna be very telling. Like I said, it's a beautiful shot. I like how it's from a distance. We can see there's a lot in between of where he's going to land. So that's gonna put stakes on it. So
yeah. I think it's interesting because I just immediately had an idea like what happens if this whole season is like Breaking Bad? Like what Breaking Bad did was they showed you like the last like 5 minutes of the
yeah,
season and then they like how did we get here? Oh, let's rewind and tell you how we got here. What happens if they open it up like that? You just see him falling through space. Oh, wait, what the hell happened? Oh, the whole season's going to retell those events.
right. Well, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. It's definitely something that you never know with these creators. They could try to do that. Listen. They could be swerving us the whole time for all we know. So I think all these shots are amazing. I think that we're going to get very honest storytelling this year. I think that there's going to be a lot of surprises that we probably won't even know is coming. So
Oh yeah, for sure. I think we're gonna have plenty of surprises, whether it be just any of the things that we've talked about this whole time. And then the thing is, we could we could have plenty of surprises that we're expecting, like we've talked about, or none of our guesses could be right whatsoever, and it's totally different. Like that's the interesting thing about this whole series is, we can speculate, but the problem, or not the problem, the thing is, since we don't have like characters like Luke, Han, Leia, etc. in this show, we can't really guess the direction of the storyline, per se.
That is the thing, right? It's why this show is so successful is like first off, they built it up with all new characters that you didn't have to know about at all, or new locations that you didn't have to know anything about previously. You never even had to watch Star Wars to get into this show, which I think is why it's so successful. And what keeps it interesting is, again, for even the people that have watched all the original Star Wars, is none of these characters we know, so they can all die at any given moment. I mean, look at what happened to IG-11. Like, you wouldn't have thought to care. At least I didn't think to care for a droid so much. That seemed pretty despicable in the first episode, and then they built him up, an artificial being, to be like, oh, this guy's gonna sacrifice himself, and this is kind of sad. Like, even the Mandalorian, who hates droids, was like, you're gonna do what? Like, he started to sympathize greatly with this little droid.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree.
Oh
So yeah, these next couple shots are the last thing in the trailer. Yeah, obviously there's a lot to say about this trailer because we've been going on for over an hour and a half, and we're going strong here. We're gonna go on through this, but this is some of the cool stuff in the trailer as well because we have the Gamorreans, and it's cool because Jon Favreau months ago, almost probably a year ago, he showed off an image on Instagram of a maquette model of a Gamorrean, a shirtless Gamorrean at that, which is interesting to look at. And here we see it in its fruition. Now, I think these might be female Gamorreans. They don't look as big as the ones at Jabba's palace, or else the ones at Jabba's palace were just getting fed very, very well. But nonetheless, I think it's really cool. We're seeing like a gladiatorial arena between two opponents that are alive. Because I mean, we've seen it in Solo. There were two droids, but to see this kind of racket going on with some vicious alien species of the Gamorreans looks really neat. What do you think about this one, Milton?
Um, Again, it's a great shot. I'm just like you. It's going to be something that, and from my perspective, it's going to be something that it's going to be very new to us, but also again very familiar because we know those creatures. I think it was nice to see that particular creature because we haven't seen it in real life before, in live action before, have we? So it's nice to see that type of creature come into Star Wars in a live action realm. And I think that's going to be a pattern of this season of seeing more of those creatures like that are more live action. We've always seen them in animation or in like comic books or whatnot, but to see them in person, that's awesome to where Star Wars has come from to now.
Yeah, first reactions to this one, Ben.
Oh yeah, I think it's a great shot. Like you said, it's nice just building up the momentum of the trailer and the overall storyline. What could potentially happen in this scene? Because I feel like there's a really high chance Din's gonna get involved in this. He's gonna have to fight someone or something somehow, and maybe like when he's potentially fighting, maybe that's when the child gets swiped. Um,
Oh,
and
Yeah.
maybe something like that. But I think Din's gonna get involved because I don't think we're gonna visit this fighting area and not have any action. Like I think it's almost guaranteed he will. Who knows? Maybe Cara Dune fights here. I mean, she's a fighter and all that. Like maybe her.
Yeah,
yeah,
could be. It could be a
could
possibility.
be. We see her in season one doing it. And another cool thing to note here is if you are watching in the trailer and you get a little bit closer of a shot, there's many flags that are hung up on the ceiling as I'm looking at them right now. Reminds me a lot of Maz Kanata's palace. They had all those banners, and I can't look at these things close enough right now to pick anything out that I know. But I know in Maz Kanata's there was like a Mandalorian emblem one. There was all sorts of ones. So I can already assume that people on Twitter have magnified times like 100 on here and probably have spotted some usual designs that we might have seen throughout the Star Wars galaxy, but just the Rogues Gallery here, seeing the Gamorreans fight each other, which it's just fun seeing more legacy creatures make an appearance in Star Wars. I know that was a big thing that was lacking in the sequel trilogy is, yeah, it's great to expand the mythology of Star Wars by including new creatures and species, but it's also really nice to see things like Twi'leks and Gamorreans and different creatures again. So, building up off of that, we have one of these Cyclops creatures. I have no other name for. I know it's got a specific species, and I'm blanking on it now because we haven't seen enough of them in Star Wars apparently. But this guy, I think Ben, you mentioned this. I think he's on the Mandalorian. Like, why are you caring about this kid or whatever? Like, and it's just so these guys know that there's something up. You see this little creature, and he didn't learn the first season to like keep this thing hidden like on the ship or something. Like, don't take it with you because it's gonna draw too much attention.
Yep. I mean, that's where the line comes in where he says he goes where I go. Um, so you have that, and I think that's going to lead into our potential big fight with Din and all these patrons or something. Who knows? It could be almost like a bar fight or something,
Right.
because I feel like it could be like, hey, why is this child so important? Blah blah blah, and they start trying to get like rough with Din, and then he has to fight people off.
Yeah, definitely seems likely. And with the Mandalorian, the first scene of season one, he's fighting people in a bar. So this guy, he knows how to defend himself, but he's also not one to shy away from a fight. So if he has to, now he has somebody to protect, he's gonna go at it. As we see in this next image here, you got all these dudes that have guns pointed at his helmet. Like, he's a Mandalorian, but man, the odds are not in his favor at all, even with the kind of training he has. I want to know more about these characters. They have interesting costumes. They're all in dark clothes. They could almost appear to be part of some kind of cult or something
Right.
like that. They're all humans, which is interesting as well. So I don't know. Maybe they are like some imperial like security bureau guys undercover. That could be it too. What do you think about that, Milton?
Could be. I mean, listen, I'll take the Mandalorian's odds against anybody at this point. I mean, he's shown that whether it's 5-1, 10-1, he'll hold his own. I mean, I think in this particular shot, I think that we're going to see maybe some type of negotiation of what he needs to get to his next step of, okay, I have this child, I need to get to his destination. Maybe he's talking to that guy with the eye about needing some support or some resources, and maybe someone saying, "Hey, we'll help you out, but not really. We're going to take this kid for ourselves." So we're going to see some griminess with how these thieves and bounty hunters really operate. But in this particular scene, I think that the Mando is going to probably kick a lot of ass, like we've been seeing all season long.
What about you, Ben? You think the odds are pretty good for Amanda to come out on this
I
battle?
I would say so, and then also, like potentially like saying with our maybe time moving forward, etc. The child's gonna be growing. He's gonna be growing to some degree. So then, could he be more powerful? Maybe the Mando's in a bad situation, and we see a really big display of the Force or something like a Force like pushback of everybody or something. I think there's a good chance we could see the child use the Force in another interesting situation, like we've seen in some of the more iconic ones from the first season where you lifted the creature up or, stopped the fire or, choked Cara Dune or whatever.
Yeah, that's what was so great about season one is like, there was something special from the moment you seen Baby Yoda, but like he progressively got more surprising with the things he
Mhm.
did, and he displayed such a wide array of the abilities. Like you said, even doing something that was known for only dark side users to kind of comprehend was, choking the life out of somebody. So we know that if he's in danger, he's gonna help Mandalorian, but in the case of the next image here, he's rather shying away from it and he's saying, okay, time to get safe. Let me turn on the shields here and go get shelter. And I thought that was great because he
Yeah.
sees the Mandalorian going for the singing birds. I think that's what they call
Mhm.
the little missiles. He knows
Yep.
what they do, and he's like, okay, I gotta shield myself because there's about to be some crap that's about to go down here. So,
Yeah, well, that shot's very telling for me because you get to see these guys have been together for a little bit. Like
yeah.
he knows the routine. Okay, whenever Dad's about to crank out those little birds, it's time to just go in your little hole, let him do what he got to do, and then come back out because something's about to go down, which is awesome. Like that's kind of like that buddy cop scenario that we're seeing with these two, where like he just knows, okay, something's about to go down. Let me just get out of here before I get hurt, and then I'll come back when everything's settled.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the comedic part of the trailer for me. Like you got to have a baby Yoda meme moment, and that's already over the internet. Several hours within the first day, it's all over the place now. People are just quoting it, and that's just what makes the show have a lot of its sparkle, a lot of that like uniqueness to it is just that whole relationship. And like you said, if time passes by, these guys are going to be so, into each other's movements that they're going to know exactly what's going on here. And it seems like things went pretty good for the Mandalorian in this last image here from the trailer that I pulled. He's got a throwing knife. It looks like that he stuck into probably what looks like a Zabrak, and there's several bodies down for the count behind him. So lethal Mandalorian here. What do you think about all this carnage, Milton?
Amazing. Again, like I want anytime he's in a situation like that, I do not expect him to take it easy on people. I mean, he's very much like that's his demeanor. He doesn't play around. I mean, anytime he speaks, you listen. Like it's anytime he's threatened, he's not going to go down and just be okay with that. So I expect in this particular scene us to see some violence that we never seen in Star Wars before. I've never seen someone put a knife through someone's heart in Star Wars. We've seen lightsabers cut off limbs, but we never seen a knife just fall down. Like it's amazing, And I know this would be like a kid's show in a sense, but you know what though? This is very gritty and very dark, and it's for a lot of adults too. So I'm okay with it, and I cannot wait for it.
The first scene of the show, we get somebody that's cut in half by a freaking door. So once that happened, I was like, okay, all holds bar. It's all off at this moment. Like they can do a lot.
I know Disney is in charge of this product, but I'm sorry, man. Like grown adults are watching this show, so like let's get it.
Oh man, what do you think about this, man?
Oh yeah, I think I'm echoing the same sentiments as you guys. I just really think, it's going to be good to see more of Din getting into action, these type of scenes and other scenes we already discussed, just because I feel like there was my only little nitpick of season 1 was I feel like he was getting into too many, I don't know, almost borderline scenarios like, hey, he's supposed to be this like, badass bounty hunter, but then, he keeps losing the baby. He keeps doing the, all these like little mistakes. And I'm like, then how are you, one of these top bounty hunters in the galaxy, but you keep having these mistakes? Like, I feel like a bounty hunter would note this. But so I think they're going to show more of him in action in this season and really solidify that like, hey, this is your, like badass bounty hunter. And yeah.
Yeah, and I think will be good though for the show. Like you're seeing him being really sloppy in season 1, and maybe in season 2 he's becoming more seasoned. We're seeing that character development, which is great because, like you said, Mandalorians, we know them through Legends and everything else. If you guys are into the fandom, Mandalorians are like these guys. They created the way of their life to battle the Jedi. Like they are not Force using characters. Hence, that's why they had to create the different kind of armor that they have. That's where they had to create their weapons and their gadgets to kind of, the rockets to simulate the force sleep ability, all that kind of stuff to stay ahead. So we're going to see what the Mandalorians are capable of through the eyes of Din Djarin. And it's like the perfect vehicle for us as the audience to understand like, oh yeah, this is why the Mandalorians are so legendary. So we're going to break. Mm-hmm. We're gonna get down to the last, not even the last shot. That was a trailer, but I did want to talk a little bit about the poster that was released alongside of the trailer. So we have the season 2 poster, and it has a very unique design for the Mandalorian because he has a tag along, a new accessory. He has a satchel in which he has a Baby Yoda that is along for the ride. So interesting. He's not in a backpack, but it's probably safer for him since he's like in front of his body, so nobody can like snipe him from behind or something like that. But it's pretty cool. I like the color palette of the poster itself. It's got more of like a purplish blue hue to it, compared to like the more tannish color of like almost like a Tatooine background of the season 1 poster. So I really dig this poster. I think it looks really nice and it really does pop. What do you guys have to say about this poster?
Yeah, I think it's great. There's a potential this could be like I don't know, like a ending, if it is in the show, if it's not just a marketing poster, but say if this exact scene is in the show, it could be a potential like end of an episode thing of him going, flying away with Baby Yoda, and that sort of thing. But other than that, I don't think we'll see that exact scene in the show. I think it's a good chance it's most likely just for marketing.
Yeah, totally agree with that. I mean, it's an awesome looking poster. I mean, he's got that swag about him, like no one can touch him. Baby Yoda looks comfortable, like he's doing his thing. It's nice to see that he's got his guns out to show that he's always ready for battle.
Yep.
The color palette is amazing. I mean, I don't think this is telling of anything that's going to happen in particular the show. I just think it's a great marketing like ploy of getting us ready to say, hey, this is our favorite character of the Mando, but he's going to be doing a lot of damage this season. There's going to be a lot of things that we don't know about him that will come out.
Definitely. Definitely. So, wrapping things up for this trailer breakdown, I just want to kind of leave out on closing thoughts of each one of you, like what you thought about the trailer in general, how excited you are for season 2, which is coming out in about a month and a half. So we have a little bit of a wait, but like we said off the
Yeah.
top, there could be another trailer, or at least some TV spots along the way, or maybe even a full scene ahead of time. So this is the beginning of the marketing. Does this trailer get you excited? We'll start with Milton first.
Yeah, I was excited. I mean, I think like anyone else, we were just anxious to get the trailer because we are so close to that release date of streaming. When watched it twice today, my first initial thoughts were, okay, I'm excited. It's here. Second time I watched it, it was more like, okay, this is a good trailer. I got just enough. I think probably people were disappointed that they didn't get to see Boba or Ahsoka, but we don't need to see them yet. We can wait. Like next trailer, maybe some features, we can see some of that, but we don't need to see them right away. So it was a perfect trailer. I'm really excited. Actually, one of my best friends, his wife the other day was like, "Aren't you excited for the Mandalorian season 2?" And she's not even a hardcore sweaty like Star Wars fan. And I'm thinking, yeah, this show's that great because you got
Yeah.
regular people wanting
Yup.
to watch this too. So, I mean, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau can do no wrong in my book. So I'm glad that they're the ones that really are helming this show because they know the world of Star Wars, and I'm excited. And I think it's going to be another great, successful season.
There you go. Yes, yes. I echo all of those thoughts. What about you, Ben?
Oh yeah, I completely agree. For me, I think it was a fantastic trailer. You know, the most important thing, setting all of our crazy speculations and things aside, I think the most important thing coming from this trailer was it set the story.
Mhm.
Okay, baby, the Mando's mission is to reunite Baby Yoda with his kind, and that's another thing. A lot of maybe general audience or people will think, oh, his kind as in other species of Yoda, but I think it was meant more along the lines of Force users. So it's setting the tone for that, and then that's the most important thing. It set the story, set the tone. It gets the general audience engaged because we see Baby Yoda throughout. We
Mhm.
get some familiar points, like the stormtroopers. We get some interesting things for us hardcore Star Wars fans, and it's just a good overall first trailer or final trailer. If it has to be a final trailer, it's a really good, solid overall final trailer. And at the end of the day, we're only like 6 weeks away, so
All right.
it's going to be here soon enough.
Yeah, that's kind of my sentiment, my thoughts as well. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I did a reaction video watching this thing for the first time on the channel, and one of the first things that came out of my mouth was like, "Oh, I'm really surprised that we didn't see Boba Fett, Ahsoka, Sabine,
Mhm.
Captain Rex." And I was one of those people when I first found out about the rumors. I was like, "Oh, that kind of spoils the fun. Now I know that these characters are gonna be in it." So I think it makes total sense. Like as much as I wanted to see somebody, it makes sense to like let us just hold that moment for a little bit longer because they're iconic characters and they don't deserve to just be shown off in like a under 2 minute trailer. Their entrance like that wouldn't do it justice for me. But then at the same token, it's like I feel like this trailer, at least to me, I don't know if you guys can voice your opinion on this. I didn't get like that one moment where I was like, "Oh my gosh, did you guys get that?" Like I'm not gonna be going into work and saying, "Hey, dude, did you see that awesome moment in the Mandalorian trailer?" Like it didn't have like that
All right.
feel for me. I'm just not sure.
I agree. I think because I was kind of waiting for that too, because I waited at the end thinking, oh, we're going to see
Yeah.
maybe a shot of
Yep.
somebody.
Yep.
But
Yep.
then I was like, you know what though? Nope, I'm fine. When I get up, like, I'm okay with it because again, I know that we'll get some type of behind the scenes feature, and maybe like Ben said earlier, maybe another trailer in like 2 or 3 weeks when we're getting closer to that release date. Maybe they'll talk about the characters and say, hey, this season you're going to see a lot of interesting characters, some new, some familiar, and maybe they may break them down in those features because Star Wars is pretty good about giving you those like behind the scene features of what their projects are all about. So if we get that, then I'm okay with what we have in the trailer.
Mm.
Oh
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean the
well,
trailer. Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
oh, I was just gonna say, well, my comment, I was gonna say, with people maybe like being let down, like of course, we were looking for, like the both of you said, we were looking for, that one big shot. Like if I had to grade this trailer, I would give it a B plus. It's a good trailer,
That's
but
fair.
it's not. You don't have that pop moment like The Force Awakens, like Chewie, we're
Yeah.
home, or like any of the big pop moments. You don't really have that pop moment. It's more of just like, okay, good, 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 and it's just a steady level of goodness versus a big pop. Because like you both said, there I was also kind of looking for like maybe at the end of the trailer, maybe when it goes dark and then maybe it fades back in
Yeah.
and it's boom, Ahsoka or something, or boom, Boba Fett. And then, if it was Boba Fett, people would be like, general audience especially would be like, whoa. But I think the reason why though they didn't do this is I think if I had to put on a pecking order of potential, screen time for these characters, I think Sasha Banks's character is one, and then Ahsoka and Boba, any of the other cameo characters are below her because, they showed Sasha Banks's character in the trailer, but you have to think about it this way as well. What if they show Ahsoka, or what if they show Boba Fett and they're literally in it for like 5 minutes, and then people are like, "Why were you marketing this character when they're
Yeah.
not in the show at all?" So like
Yeah.
I feel like that's a concern because then you could potentially, could basically be dropping a grenade on the middle of your season. Like, say if Boba Fett's in the show for 5 minutes halfway through the season, and then he's gone, or gets killed or something, and then people are like, "Wait a second, you were just marketing him just to get him knocked off." Like I think that's the reason why they didn't put those characters in. Is I think they could potentially have a smaller role than what we may be. They'll still be in the show, but I think they could potentially have a smaller role in this season, anyways. What we may be predicting, or
Yeah.
than what we may be
Good
expecting.
point.
Yeah, and I think of Phasma when you said that because they hyped
Yeah.
up Phasma like crazy in Force Awakens. We're like, oh, she's gonna be the most badass stormtrooper ever. No, she's in it for maybe 10 minutes of screen time in probably both films.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
that's the thing. And Ben's right. And two, though, he's a major character that we know of. So if you do that and you screw that up, you're gonna turn off a lot of fans. So I see where Ben's coming from.
Yeah. But I mean, overall, looking at it from a trailer perspective, it did its job, right? I like the use of the dialogue that was reused from the armor from season one, talking about the Jedi and the sorcerer, and really the mission. Anybody that watched the trailer, you know what season two is going to be about. The crux of this season is to get
Yes.
Baby Yoda from point A to point B, and he's got to deliver him to somebody who could take care of him. We didn't mention at all the music. I assume it's from Ludwig Göransson. Some new stuff in there. I thought it sounded great. Just the planets, the machinery, the species, the action. It had everything that a Star Wars trailer should. So all in all, very happy with the trailer. I do want to promote you guys out there for where can they find you, Milton? Where can they find you on the internet if they want to talk to you about Star Wars?
Gotcha. I'm pretty active on Twitter. I will say a lot more. At Milton Weber 7 on Twitter. I'm sure you see it here on the screen. On Instagram at Milton 7 Kingslayer, I believe is what it is on Instagram. You can find me, but yeah, I'm pretty active on those particular social medias. I usually talk about Star Wars and the other type of pop culture that's going on. So hit me up, add me, and let's have a conversation.
Oh yeah,
Ben, where can the people
sounds
find you?
great. For me, you can find me at any local cantina, but no, you can find me everywhere, pretty much at Real Ben Maynard. Twitter's my main hub. I'm always on there, always tweeting, talking Star Wars, direct messaging Chris random things that I see speculating online. But yeah, Real Ben Maynard, find me there and let's chat.
Oh man, guys, it's been one hell of a night. I know I was trying to get you guys off of here in about an hour, and we're almost doubling that. So apparently, we're pretty excited about the
Yeah.
Mandalorian season 2. And I know you guys out there as well. If you're watching this video, let us know in the comment section down below. What did you think of this trailer? Was there anything that maybe we missed that you have to say about this trailer? Let us know in the comment section down below. For more on Star Wars, there's been a lot lately. There was a trailer, a CG short actually, for Star Wars Squadrons, which I did a reaction video for. You can find on the channel. And I have the comic book reviews and the book reviews as usual for Star Wars. So make sure if you're new to the channel and you like this video, you go ahead and subscribe for more on Star Wars. That is going to do it for me. That's going to do it for me, Starrapter. That's going to do it for Milton and Ben. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you always. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me, and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Starrapter.